Alright, so the first question is, what system, feature, or app that currently exists elsewhere would you like to see the most added to the next version of iPadOS? I've talked a lot about Pro apps on the iPad a lot, so I'd either like to see Xcode or Final Cut. You can throw Logic in there as well. I don't have as much use for Logic, so if you ask for me personally, either Xcode or Final Cut. Probably Xcode because I have Luma Fusion right now. Which is what I currently edit with, but I'd love to get back to coding and making apps. What are your latest thoughts on iPadOS? So far, pretty good. I really like it. It checks a lot of boxes off on my wish list. I think it's gonna be pretty good for a lot of people that are wanting to work off the iPad, and there were like little things that were preventing them from doing it. I'm tied to my MacBook Air because I love to be able to swipe and switch windows and have different desktops. How do you get around this with the iPad? I know you can switch windows as well, but I don't find it to be quite the same. iPadOS will probably fix that for you. You're gonna be able to have multiple instances of the same app, so you can kind of swipe between multiple desktops, windows, combinations. That's gonna be something that's pretty good. Next question is, I have a 2018 iPad Pro and would like to try iPadOS beta. What has your beta experience been? Should I try it? It's kind of getting late in the game now. So far the beta has been fairly buggy. It's not as bad now as it was, but it's still been pretty buggy. We're honestly not that far away. We're probably like a month away from it officially being out. Maybe a little bit longer, but probably not that much longer. So I would probably, if you've waited this long, I'd probably continue to wait and then just get the full stable version, because there has been some weird like iCloud bugs and stuff like that. I haven't lost anything personally, but I've seen a lot of people like on Twitter and stuff say they've lost stuff. So, and that sucks when you lose stuff. So if you've waited this long, maybe hold off. Unless you're getting really antsy, then go for it. What do you use to keep your screen clean? Just a microfiber cloth? If you use external hard drives, how often do you use it and why? It's still pretty early in the external hard drive deal. You know, we've only had it on iPadOS for a couple months now. For me personally, I just use them to back up my footage and share a couple of files if need be. It's still really convenient to just pop in a hard drive, move the documents over, and then give it to somebody else. What is your go-to coffee? Starbucks cold brew. It tastes terrible, it's not good, but it gets the job done. And I just spilt it. Next up, do you think Apple will ever implement desktop extending on an external monitor? And if so, how would they implement it, since the iPad is primarily a touch interface? So I'm guessing this is basically asking like using dual monitors, like using your iPad and the other monitor. How they would implement it is probably mouse support, since it's coming now. I would love for them to release some sort of like touch external monitor. That'd be really cool. Do I think they'll do it? Probably. I mean, I don't see why not. Like, it seems like they're kind of inching their way towards that, with USB-C and mouse support being here. I would not be surprised if mouse support comes out of accessibility maybe next year or the year after and becomes like a full-fledged system feature. And kind of the follow-up to that question was, how would Apple create a desktop mode external monitor for the iPad that fixes the ugly 4x3 black bezels on either side of the monitor? So if you don't know, basically there's pillar boxing, so there's two black bars to keep, if you're using like a widescreen monitor, to keep the iPad at 4x3 on an external monitor, because it doesn't support any other like aspect ratio. How they would fix that, developers would probably have to update their apps. That's the only thing I could think of, because they kind of are locked at a specific aspect ratio and resolution. So mouse support, you use it? Yeah, I actually have a whole video either coming out about it or it's already out. I haven't figured out the release order yet, but if it's out already, I'll link it below. If not, subscribe and it'll be out in the next day or two. How are you liking shooting on a dedicated camera versus an iPhone? Should Apple make a full frame camera? I'm gonna answer the second question first. No, I don't think so. Apple, I don't see why they would. They make one of the greatest cameras already in the iPhone. Like, I don't see why they would need to make a dedicated camera. It'd be cool if they did, but at the same time, I don't see why they would. Answering the other part, how am I liking shooting on a dedicated camera? So I bought a Canon EOS R. I'm loving the thing. It is awesome. It's fantastic. It actually makes shooting so much quicker and so much easier. Not having to mess with like the finickiness of an iPhone. The other really weird thing is the iPhone is so light, you can't do handheld shots or they just turn out shaky. So this, I've been able to do a lot of handheld shots. It really has actually sped up my production time. I did 2 videos start to finish yesterday, so that's pretty cool. What piece of hardware or accessory would you like to see for the iPad? Now that I'm shooting on a dedicated camera that requires SD cards, I would love a built-in SD card reader, along with like every other MacBook Pro user too. I would just, having a USB-C port and an SD card reader, or just 2 USB-C ports or 2 USB-C ports and an SD card reader on an iPad Pro would be awesome. I don't ever think it's gonna happen, but that's what I want. Do you know of an iOS app similar to Carbon Copy Cloner? I do not. I don't think there would be able to do anything like that. I'm gonna put an asterisk on that because I don't know for sure. I'd love something like Carbon Copy Cloner on the iPad, but we probably won't hear anything until after iPadOS comes out, and I don't think so. I know apps can write to external drives, but I don't think they could probably copy all the contents to another one. I don't know. I really don't know. What is your wish list for an ARM MacBook / iPad hybrid if it ever happens? I don't really want a MacBook mixed with an iPad. I think they're 2 different devices that have 2 different respective jobs, and I don't think they need to be mixed. I would like to see some sort of like iPad and a laptop style, so having kind of like what the Bridge keyboard looks like, but with a trackpad built into it. Maybe it's all one device, maybe it's removable like the Surfaces, but I'd like to see something like that. That would be kind of cool. I'm not the first person to mention that, but I think that would be a really cool product. iPadOS now supports connecting USB drives, etc. Is it possible to connect an Android device and copy, move files as any computer supports it? Honestly, I don't really know. I would assume so, but I guess it depends on what file format, or not file format, you know, how the drive is formatted, what that uses. Is it like exFAT or something like that? I don't see why not if other computers can do it. It just reads drives now, but I'm not sure. If somebody knows, leave a comment below. Are you still going no Apple Watch? If so, what are you wearing? This is a Nixon watch. I don't remember the model. Link in the description. It's a really great watch. I stopped wearing my Apple Watch because, this is going to sound strange, but it was causing me anxiety. The fact it was going off all the time. And yes, I know I could turn off the notifications, but you start turning off the notifications, then why are you even bother wearing an Apple Watch? I like mechanical things. I like the way mechanical things work. So having something mechanical on my wrist, that's fun. If Samsung released an app for it, would you run Dex on an iPad? If I remember right, Dex is the kind of the thing where you plug the phone into the dock and you can use a keyboard and mouse with it. Probably not, because it's Android, and on Android I wouldn't be able to edit videos or edit podcasts or anything like that. The reason why I picked iOS over Android, and I have used Android phones in the past, is because I can do more with it. I know all the Android people are gonna lose it, but I'm not talking about like automating my Bluetooth settings and stuff like that. I'm talking about being able to actually edit video and edit podcasts and even write a little bit of code. I can't compile on the iPad. I would love that, but you know, I can write some server-side stuff. Thoughts on WWDC 2019? This was a good one. I think everyone got at least something that they wanted. If you didn't, you might be asking for too much. iPadOS versus macOS students. It depends on what you're doing. If you're, you know, going into graphic design, you could probably get away with like iPad stuff. Your school may require certain software, so check with them. Make sure, you know, they're not requiring something that only runs on a Mac or even a PC. It just completely depends on what you're doing. If you're just like taking notes and writing papers and stuff like that, iPad is going to be perfect for that. But I mean, just totally 100% depends on what you're doing. Please discuss the new PDF Expert 7 for iPad and Hyperdrive USB-C hub 8-in-1. The second one I haven't used at all. I use a Kingston hub that I'm really happy with. If Hyperdrive would like to send me one, I'd be more than happy to try it out, but I don't really ever find the need of buying multiple things that do the same thing. It's just I don't need it personally, but if they want to send me one, I'll do a video on it. PDF Expert 7 is the new version of PDF Expert. They did some things that people probably aren't super happy about. They moved to a subscription model. I believe it's like $50 a year, but it's one of those things that it's for the pro features. So the app itself is free. A lot of the features, a lot of the stuff in the app is free. But if you need some of the pro features, it's $50 a year. Now, if you had PDF Pro 6 or PDF Expert 6, PDF Expert 6, and you had bought the features, you can do a restore purchase, and everything that was in that version of the app that you used before gets restored to the new version. So you can use all those features that were in the old version in the new one. It's just the new stuff you'd have to pay a subscription for. It's a pro app, like $50 a year. I mean, it's a lot of money compared to the other stuff on the App Store, but at the same time, it's a pro app. If you're using it every day or if you're using it a few times a week, it's probably paying for itself. Do you have an EDC bag? What do you carry each day? This is a question of contention. So I literally just yesterday bought the Peak Design Everyday Bag. It's a great bag. I bought it because I needed a camera bag. I need a place to store my camera gear. It's good for that. There's some stuff by Low Pro I'm still looking at. I probably will never be happy with a bag. What I carry in it every day is pretty much still the same stuff that was in my What Do I Carry Everyday bag. I'll link that below. It's pretty much all the same thing, but right now my everyday carry bag is the Peak Design, and this is literally the second day I've had it, so I don't know if that counts. My other bag, my go-to bag, is that messenger bag that's in the What Do I Carry Everyday bag, and then also there's Waterfield sent me a backpack that I've been using as well. So those are kind of my three go-to ones. Probably a little later this week, I'll have a video come out on a travel backpack. That's kind of cool, but it's really big. It's meant for traveling, so it's not your everyday carry bag, but it's a cool travel bag. I have the Vietnamese messenger bag, my one from Waterfield. Got it after watching your review and love it, but I'm looking for backpack options too. Suggestions? The one I'm currently looking at is the Animatic backpack. I've never heard of that backpack. I mean, I like my Peak Design bag. That's pretty cool. If you like Waterfield stuff, they have it's something that's like Slim something. Slim backpack deal. Link in the description. That's a really nice backpack. It's a lot smaller. It's kind of your everyday carry bag. Personally, I like that one, but yeah. What's the number one app you'd use to demonstrate to someone this is why you use an iPad Pro for everything? I don't know if there's just one app. It's probably a combination of LumaFusion, Fairlight, Drafts, Shortcuts. Just that combination alone, plus the hardware being how minimal it is, how light it is, how easy it is to pack away. I could use it at my desk, I can use it on the go, I can use it on a plane, train, automobile. That's a reference. Yeah, I think it's a combination of everything. It's not just one thing. Friend of the channel, Matt Birchler asks, hypothetically, if tomorrow Apple said, if you want, you can now run macOS on your iPad Pro, would you wipe iPadOS off of your iPad or stick with it? When he asked me this question last night, I lost sleep over it. But I think I came to the conclusion of no. I can do everything I want from my iPad, and the reason why I picked an iPad over working off of a Mac is the software. The hardware is great, but so is MacBook Pro's hardware. That's, well, except for its keyboard, but that's a whole nother story. So I'm pretty sure I just stick with an iPadOS. He adds a footnote that I could dual boot, of course, but I kind of feel like that's the cheap way out. Like, okay, yeah, I'll just dual boot and then just pick and choose between what I want. But personally, I think I'd stick with iPadOS, because that's kind of why I picked the iPad, is for that minimalist computer, but I could still get everything done. I can edit these videos, edit podcasts, all that stuff. How do you handle storage and file organization? Should we do cloud or hardware storage? So documents, my photos library, PDFs, pretty much everything gets stored in Dropbox right now, and I'm probably going to move to iCloud Drive because Dropbox is doing some weird stuff, but that all gets stored in Dropbox right now, and then that will sync and wipe itself off your device and do that whole thing. As far as editing videos and stuff like that, that is all on device. I keep all my videos on device because I don't want to have to worry about them being wiped off my computer because of some syncing thing, and then like, oh, you're not using these files anymore, and then every time I go to edit the video, it has to re-download those files. I don't want to deal with that. So videos stay completely local, and then what I'll usually do is when I take the footage off my camera, I'll also move it to an external hard drive so I have like a backup of it just in case something happens, but nothing's ever really happened, so you know. How's your iPhone X holding up without a case? I'm not a fan of screens, and aside from one screen, mine's held up well. Mine's been fine. I had a case on it for like the first couple of days when I got it because it felt really slippery to me, but after that I haven't put a case on it in, I guess, almost 3 years now, because 2 years now. It's fine. It's fine. I haven't no cuts, scratches. I mean, there's like little like micro scratches and stuff like along the edges and stuff. I throw it in a little phone holder in my car, and you know, that's fine. But no, it's been fine. I probably won't put a case on my next phone either. That aside, I don't know if I'm actually going to get the next iPhone or if I'm just going to replace the battery in this thing. I just don't use my iPhone as much as I use my iPad. How do you take care of your iPad for it to last a long time? When's the best time to upgrade? I usually upgrade my iPads after a new one comes out because I make these videos. I've got to set down my coffee and take care of them for a long time. Just treat them with respect. I don't know. I'm pretty harsh on devices. I feel like my iPad, my cameras and stuff, they're tools, and the tools are to serve me, not the other way around. But at the same time, you should just take care of them. So that's my thoughts. What TV shows do you want us to watch? Books suggest for us to read? Spotify playlists you love? Hobbies you enjoy that aren't tech? Okay, so TV shows, I really enjoyed the Game of Thrones finale. I'm probably just lost like half my subscribers right there, but I actually liked the Game of Thrones final season because it wasn't predictable. Predictable TV to me is boring. I've really been enjoying Stranger Things. That was pretty good. What else? Yeah, I mean, I try not to watch too much TV because I want to like work on these videos and stuff, but you know, that stuff's pretty good. Books, I don't read as much as I should. I really should be reading more. I don't. I need to work on that. Spotify playlists you love? I don't really, I use Apple Music, but mostly I listen to things to help me focus. Blade Runner 2049 soundtrack, Dunkirk soundtrack, those are really good. If you like video games, the Mass Effect soundtrack is pretty good for that as well. Hobbies that you enjoy that are non-tech? I don't really have any non-tech hobbies. I can't, that might be, maybe I should find one. Where is the rest of your LumaFusion tutorial series? Yeah, so that video was slightly heartbreaking for me. I started a whole series on LumaFusion. I got through 2 parts, and they announced version 2.0 of LumaFusion, and it basically killed everything I had planned. I spent like a couple weeks working on a script, building assets, doing this whole thing, and like version 2.0 was a significant jump that it would have just completely outdated my video. So I stopped working on it because they announced it and they were like, okay, it'll be out in a couple of months, and then it kept getting pushed, or I don't know if it was pushed by them or what, but it came out so close to iPadOS release, like I just wasn't able to focus on that. Like I have to focus on the iPadOS walkthrough and things like that. I will come back to it, I promise. What I will probably do is instead of doing like a whole big part deal, I'll probably just do one massive video talking about how I edit videos, because most of my stuff pretty much uses almost all of the features in LumaFusion when I edit one of these videos. Titles, animation, keyframing, all that stuff. So I'll probably just do like one big video of this is how I edit a video. But it probably won't be until after iPadOS comes out, because that's going to be a big undertaking. And I'm a one-man army, so like I can't do, you know, I can't do all that at once. How do you film and edit using your iPad? I want to start doing YouTube videos but don't have a computer. I have a camera in my iPhone. Luma Fusion, it's a great app. I'll make sure it's linked below with like the 2 parts of my video that I started. And I promise to pick up my Luma Fusion tutorial. I promise, I pinky promise. What are your next thoughts on the iPad Pro, and do you think Apple will resolve the Bendgate issue? Okay, so I'm going to address the Bendgate issue thing. I get asked about this probably 4 times a week, and I have never... I throw my iPad in a bag every day. I throw it around. I'm filming with it. It gets put in weird situations. It's not bent. I think everyone had kind of blew this out of proportion a little bit and like was like, oh my gosh, the iPad will just bend if you look at it weird. And I'm like, it doesn't. I don't doubt that there are bent iPads. I mean, it's a small piece of metal, but I don't see why everyone freaks out and thinks that this is a gate. Like, this is as big as Watergate. Oh my gosh. It's really not. What do I think? What are my next thoughts on the next iPad Pro? I'm hoping it's faster. I want every iPad to be faster because the faster the iPad, the more stuff they can do with the software. Everyone always kind of rolls their eyes at, oh, they just made the device faster this year. Well, that means they can do more with it in software. Software requires resources. It requires hardware resources. The faster the hardware, the better the software. Okay, thank you guys so much for asking me questions and everything. I really appreciate it. Hopefully I was able to answer all of your guys' questions. I'm really curious what you guys think about the quality of this video with the new camera and everything. I'm still figuring it all out, so if it doesn't, like, if there's weird things, like, I know it's probably really bright right here right now because it's like 7:30 right now and the sun's coming up, so yeah, I still need to figure all that stuff out. But thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.